See, it's like all these posts by these stupid bots that are like being controlled to say this stupid stuff. Like they're being told to like say all this stuff.
Okay, well, first and foremost, you need to stop calling other people bots because you're the biggest bot I've ever talked to. I feel like I'm
a bot.
I feel like I'm talking to an AI simulation right now. That's how much of a bot you are. Because you have no evidence to back up anything, you have no facts to support your claims, you literally just have a feeling that you want things to be this way because that's what you're familiar with and what makes you personally feel comfortable, and you just blindly listen to Andrew Tate. Like you are the most, you're the biggest bot I've talked to. So I think that we need to just stop with the bot accusations because you need to look in the mirror first. I've had more intelligent conversations with R2-D2.
Yo, bro, can you hear me?
Yeah, what's good?
All right, so like I watch a lot of your videos like on Andrew Tate and stuff, and I feel like have you ever sat down and like actually watched an entire like Andrew Tate like conversation with someone? Because I feel like a lot of you bots and stuff, you like go on like and watch like a TikTok of him saying something that you like it's like out of context, and then you're like, oh, he's some misogynist and like he's this horrible person when he's just trying to be an entertainer. So like I don't get like where you're coming from with that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I understand that he's trying to be an entertainer, and there are clips I've seen of his that I find to be very entertaining and quite funny as well, actually. So I understand that he's trying to be an entertainer. Have I ever sat down and watched like an entire one of his podcasts? No, I have not. But I don't think. Well, hold on. I have not also only then watched like tiny little TikTok clips of yikesy shit he said either. I mean, I've watched videos of him talking and going through shit, and I watched a video of him debating the feminists not too long ago. That was an entire video I watched, and there were a lot of yikesy things he was saying. I mean, he's talked about how women technically are property according to how like marriage and whatnot works. He definitely has some views on masculinity that I find to be pretty dangerous.
How is he wrong about masculinity? Like, men are supposed to be like the dominant in the relationship. That don't mean they better than women. That means they're supposed to be the providers, and like you don't see men like sitting out here like no relationship is where the women is dominant. Like the men has to be the one to take care, like the women has to take care of the house, and then the men have to like go out and work and stuff like that. Like that's just the way it is.
Sure, and that is the way that it is right now in many ways. But the problem is that I think people fail to see that. So there's two layers here. Living your life this way because you're a man and you would prefer to be the dominant one who's making the money, and your wife is preferring to be at home with the kids and cleaning the house and whatnot. Living your life that way is fine. It's not a problem to live your life that way. So if that's what you want to do, that's what your wife wants to do, more power to you. Go live your life, live the happiest life you can. Good luck. The problem is with sort of like what you said and what Tate says is that this is how things are supposed to be. And it is. No, but that's the problem. That's where the harm comes along, is that there's nothing intrinsically harmful about the man working, being dominant, and the wife being the submissive one, staying at home with the kids. There's nothing harmful about that intrinsically. The harm comes from you are a man, so you must be the dominant provider. Because then what happens if the man loses his job? He's suddenly not the provider anymore. And then guess what happens?
He gets a different job.
Well, hold on. What if he can't? What if he was in some specialized field and is not able to work? What if he gets injured and he's completely unable to do any work? One, he starts to feel like less of a man, which I don't think that's true. And two, when men feel this way, like they are failing to live up to these expectations, they're more likely to act in abusive ways towards their spouse and more likely to be divorced. So it's like,
listen up.
Well, hold on. Last thing. Andrew Tate claims to care about men, and I care about men too. And I don't think that everything Andrew Tate says is wrong. But when you say you care about men, and then you say you're a man, so you must be this way, you're forgetting that by trying to enforce these standards, you are making it so that men are worse off.
Okay, of course there are certain occasions when women should step up and work, like if the man is injured or like loses a job, but that shouldn't be the way it is normally, because I think that of course they should be equal, but they both have different roles. Like people can still be equal if they have different roles. That doesn't mean they're not equal, but like if they're like working if one of them is working and one of them is supposed to be more of like the nurturing, that's just the way that it's supposed to be.
But why are you saying it's the way it's supposed to be? Like, if your position was, this is the way that I would prefer my relationship to be, then okay, cool, have fun, good luck. But this is how it's supposed to be thing isn't true. What if there is a situation where the dad is genuinely better at being at home with the kids? Maybe the wife is more passionate about
loser.
No, maybe his wife is more passionate about her career. So they decide for this family unit, the best way that we can function is for the husband to be at home with the kids, taking care of the kids, and the wife being the one to work. You say that makes him a loser. You're unironically telling me right now that men who are providing for their families in ways other than financial provision are losers.
Exactly.
How is that a loser thing to do? To provide emotional support for your children, provide a safe environment for your kid?
That's what women are supposed to do. Like,
why? Why are women supposed to do that? Women are also incredibly skilled when it comes to the workforce. So maybe there's a woman who's better at the workforce.
Because women tend to be more emotional than men. So it makes sense for them to be kind of the ones to like take care of the children and stuff like that. And men are more of like the hard workers. Like, you can't just go against nature like that. That's just the way that it is. But it's not
nature. It's not nature when you like, you're trying to make this way too simple. You're trying to make it sound as if like this is just the natural thing that everybody gravitates towards. And now all of a sudden, like the woke libcucks are trying to mess up God's natural order or some shit. Like, it's not like that. It's that there are expectations of how a man should act in order to demonstrate that he is a man. And those expectations are socially constructed. This is why we look at societies long ago in the past, and men wearing a tunic, which is pretty much just a dress, was seen as the masculine thing. That was what it meant to be masculine, was a bunch of men wearing dresses. It wasn't the natural thing for men to wear these tunics. These were a socially constructed expectation that have since changed. So we know that women can be incredibly skilled and beneficial to the workforce. We know that men can be incredible caregivers and be awesome with the kids. So what's wrong if a couple wants to live that way? Again, I'm not saying everybody should be living this way. I'm just saying if people want to be living this way, what's wrong with that? I don't think it's fair to call that guy a loser.
Because it's morally wrong.
How is it morally wrong?
Because that's not the way things are supposed to be. It goes against nature.
Wait, no. You're hurting yourself right now.
How?
Because how are you coming to the conclusion that this is the way that things are supposed to be?
Because that's the way it is that's the way it was. Like, remember, like in the 1800s, like no women was out here like working in the mines or anything like that.
But you realize that was partially a problem, right? It's not a problem that they weren't in the mines. It's a problem, though, that women weren't working, not because they didn't want to work, but because of people who had the same mindset as you, which was women are supposed to be this way. So therefore, they can't work. This was hindering women's autonomy and freedom. And now women working has not only contributed massively to the economy, but women in general have brought incredible innovation to all kinds of things that we enjoy nowadays. I mean, I bring up how a woman originally invented some of the technology used nowadays for Wi-Fi. So like a woman working, being in a work industry, provided something for us that we previously didn't have. This notion that women are supposed to be this way, or men are supposed to be this way, doesn't hold up when you take into account that women in companies benefit those companies. If they were doing something they weren't supposed to do, then you wouldn't see a benefit to women working. You would see a negative.
But it goes against their programming. So, my bad. It goes against their programming, so it doesn't make any sense. Like, they're not supposed to do that.
But you keep saying the same thing, and this is why I think we're looping, is you keep saying they're not supposed to do this. Why are they not supposed to do this?
Because it isn't how the way it's normally supposed to go.
But you don't understand. So what is normal? What makes something normal?
When a man is the one working and the woman stays at home taking care of the kids.
That's not normal. If you want to go back further, when community child rearing was the norm. At that time, it was mom, dad, and the neighborhood or the village, whatever, would all pitch in to raise the child. That was the norm for a really long time. But now that's not the norm anymore. So what is and isn't normal is fully dependent upon society. Back in the 50s, it was not normal for women to wear pants. Women were only expected to wear dresses, and women trying to wear pants would be met with all kinds of backlash. They were getting kicked out of restaurants, etc. So at the time, that wasn't normal, but now it is normal. So what is and isn't normal is clearly just based on society.
Honestly, I think we should go back to the way things were in the 1800s. Like, it's just everything was so much better back then. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Why? No, I don't know what you're saying. You have no proof of this. Talk to the women that were restricted from doing virtually anything besides being like a baby making machine trapped inside the house. Do you think they had it better?
I mean, were they depressed or anything?
Probably. I don't know. I'm asking you if you think they had it better.
Yes, I do. I think they were doing things the way that they were naturally supposed to do them. So yeah, I think they had it better.
But to what extent? So is it just the gender roles that were natural? Because there's a lot of yikesy things that were pretty normal in the 1800s, right?
Yeah.
So like slavery, we're not going to start arguing like we should have slavery again because that was normal before.
Nah.
Okay, so what is the relevance then with that?
Because like when things are going a certain way and they're working, why change them? Like,
because they're not working. That's the problem, is because they're not working. They work for a lot of Americans, plenty of people. These traditional gender roles work fine for them. What doesn't work for people is boxing them into places. So when you say that women are better caregivers, when women are expected to be caregivers, and so they are fulfilling that role because that's what they think they're supposed to do, they report more depression, more negative emotion, more negative outcomes. They neglect their own health at higher rates. If this was something that women were just naturally meant to do, why are they unhappy when they're forced into these roles? It doesn't mean that women aren't good at being caregivers, but it means that expecting women to be caregivers by virtue of they are women, that's the harm.
What evidence do you have of that?
Of what exactly?
Of women being more depressed when they're doing like their natural gender roles.
I'll pull it up for you. Many men may be sharing in caregiving tasks more than in the past, but females still shoulder the major burden of care. Research shows that female caregivers experience greater role strain and role conflict than male caregivers. So strain and conflict in fitting into a role. For example, women who care for their parents are twice as likely to suffer from depressive or anxious symptoms as non-caregivers and are less likely to have their own health needs met. 25% rated their own health as fair or poor. 51% exhibited depressive symptoms. Here's another analysis from the Bowling Green State University found that female and adult child caregivers generally reported having more negative experiences than male and spouse caregivers, with wife caregivers least likely to report positive experiences. Here's a 2012 Gallup poll showing that more than 60,000 women who are stay-at-home moms have higher rates of depression. So does this mean that like women shouldn't be caregivers or shouldn't be staying at home with the kids? No. It means that you should live your life the way in which you want to live your life. No one's going to be happy being forced into a role. So why don't we just want people to live their lives freely? That's ultimately going to be the best thing.
Okay, let me ask you this. What website did you get that from? Because like people can post whatever they want on the internet. I don't think that just finding some random website, because you can make up whatever you want on the internet. Like,
you're right, but but this isn't just making stuff up. So this is from Family Caregiver Alliance, and this was a study done by Bowling State Green University. So you can read the study. So, and also it's not just like, it would be different if I was like, here's a Reddit post, bro. But this is one website from Family Care Alliance. There is another website here from, let's see, from Arbor's Assisted Living, the gender gap, women predominant among caregivers of the elderly. This is where it talks about women report more negative experiences. Like these are multiple different reputable sources that are reporting different things. It's not just like, well, two people on Reddit said it's the case. It's not just like making up a study and posting it.
Well, maybe it's just like, maybe it's something like maybe it was like a fake website like programmed. Like do you believe in the simulation theory?
Well, before we get off on that, we're not going this direction. This is coping. This is like the here's all the evidence that contradicts what I thought originally, so it's probably fake. This is like the cuck way of going about shit. It's like the beta mindset. Because part of being mature, and I guess being a man, but I'd just say being a good mature person, is recognizing when you might be wrong and then adjusting your opinions accordingly. So if we know
But I
then
don't
that
think I'm wrong.
well, but then but you are wrong because there's evidence that contradicts what you're saying. Again, if my claim was women are not good caregivers, I would be incorrect. There are plenty of women who are awesome at caregiving, want to be caregivers, want to stay at home, want to be traditional, and that's the type of life they want to live, and that's fine. My only qualm here is forcing people or expecting people or arguing that, well, this is the natural way things should be. This does not hold up. And if it did, you would not see higher rates of depression for women in caregiver positions, and you wouldn't see women in major companies benefiting those companies. If they were going against their nature, we wouldn't see such positive outcomes.
Okay, so like back to the simulation thing, like people will like create like fake studies and stuff to like prove like the bots. I'd call you a bot, bro, because you just listen to everything that you hear on like the media and stuff like that.
Do you
Which isn't
understand
like
how what you're saying right now? You say, I just listen to the media, but I have multiple different studies that I've researched myself. You just listen to Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate never shows any studies, provides any sources. He says things that feel intuitively correct, like men should be strong and suck it up, bro. You need to go out there and provide for your woman. Some guys like that mindset, and that's fine. If they feel like, I want to go out and provide for my woman, but he's not saying it like it's his personal experience. He's saying that this is the way things... No, he's not. He's saying this is the way things should be, regardless.
Dude, like, listen, I think he said in one of his debates or whatever that he is talking from his personal experience. Everything he talks about is from his personal experience. So,
okay,
like,
if that were the case, then he wouldn't be making large prescriptive claims. And it certainly wouldn't be leading to a bunch of people who have the same mindset as you, which is that this is how women and men are naturally supposed to be. So, like, anecdotal evidence doesn't really matter very much. His personal experience, I don't really care.
well, then I guess you're just gonna believe what you want to believe. But
This is the bot calling the kettle black right now. You're saying that I just believe whatever I want to believe, but yet my whole channel has been dedicated to me changing my beliefs away from things that I originally wanted to believe. And you're not providing any evidence. You don't have any evidence. You have like a feeling that this is kind of the way things should be. And then you blindly listen to Andrew Tate.
I guess it's your opinion, bro. Like,
It's not an opinion. No, you're talking, when you say that Andrew Tate is talking about his personal experiences, that's his opinion. Mine is not an opinion. Mine is what has been demonstrated and what is backed up scientifically is that men and women should be able to live their lives the way they want to. And if they want to live their lives in a traditional way, go for it. Have fun. If the man wants to be the dominant, aggressive worker and the wife wants to be at home, cool, have fun. But that's not necessarily the way things should be or need to be. And if people want to deviate from those expectations, they should be able to without being called a loser or a lazy man because instead of working all day at a job, he's at home taking care of the kids.
well, I'd have to disagree with that. Like, there isn't like, I've never seen like a woman and a man like in a relationship like that aren't happy, like where the man is dominant and the woman is like taking care of the kids. I've never seen a situation where the woman's all depressed and the man is all depressed because of what he has to do. So
yeah, but that doesn't really matter. Just if you don't see it, one, doesn't mean it's there. Second of all, like you're not gonna just like walk in and see the mom like sobbing. People who suffer from depression are usually suffering pretty silently, actually.
Depression isn't real.
So, okay, just if you haven't seen it doesn't mean that it's not happening. And so, yeah, like I'm sure a lot of the environments you've been in, women have been quite happy being the caregivers, taking care of the kids. But that's just not the case. Not all women are happy doing that.
I mean, like, not in every situation, though, but in the majority of them, they're gonna be happy that way. Like, so why?
You don't know
Why?
this. You just don't know this. Like, why do you feel the need to make this a prescriptive claim? So what you're saying is because this is how things have been or how things are right now, this is the way things should be. That's how you're arguing right now. Why is this how things should be? If you want things to be this way for your own relationship, again, that's fine. But why are you trying to say this is how things should be?
Because that's like the way it worked for my parents, and I think it'll be best for everyone.
You gotta understand that that's a really weak argument, right? Like, there are some people who it worked great for them to be homeschooled. There are other people who it didn't work great for them. Like, just if you had a good experience with a traditional family unit doesn't mean that everybody's going to. And we know statistically that not everybody has a positive experience with this. So I'm able to say and make a descriptive claim that we should not try and enforce these strict standards and force people into roles. That's my position. We should not do that. And the reason I'm coming to that conclusion is because the available evidence shows that when we do, it hurts people. It hurts women, it hurts men, it hurts their relationships, it makes men more likely to kill themselves. There's so many problems with these expectations and trying to force people to fit into a mold that you personally would prefer. So I'm able to say things should not be this way because I don't want men to kill themselves. You're saying things should be this way because it worked well for you? You've got to understand that there's things that work so much better for other people too, right?
Well, I don't think we're gonna get anywhere with this. You're obviously gonna keep up that bot mentality. So you want to talk about the depression because I feel like your takes on depression are like they're so stupid. Like you think, oh, there's no cure for depression, so I'm just gonna sit around and cry all day. Like what? That's just complete nonsense, bro. Like,
well, that's never been what I've said. I've never
well,
I never said there's no cure for depression, so we should sit around and cry all day. I said that there's no cure for depression in the sense that there's not. It's such a thing as a chronic illness. You can look that up if you haven't heard of it before. But like, yeah, people have chronic illnesses all the time, things that are not going to be cured ever, but can be managed and fixed to a large extent. That's how depression is. It's not going to be cured, as in, I no longer have depression. However, medication and other forms of treatment, going outside more, exercising, having friends, all of this can benefit and reduce your depression. It's really not that complicated, right?
okay, but like, why keep up this bot mentality that like depression can't be cured? Because
that's a fact. That's not a bot mentality. That's called a fact. That's called like facts don't care about your feelings.
But like, it was created by like, it's so stupid. Like, I'm gonna bring up. Okay, so like, I'm gonna bring up. Hold up. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
Okay.
See, it's like all these posts by these stupid bots that are like being controlled to say this stupid stuff. Like, I used to be depressed. I'm not depressed anymore. So explain that.
I'm starting to feel like you're just trolling here, but
I'm not
at the same time,
you,
I feel like you seem like kind of like a troll, but at the same time, I feel like you're too dedicated to this to be a troll.
No, I swear I'm not trolling you, bro. I'm being 100% genuine with you right now.
Okay.
Like these people, and they're being told to like say all this stuff.
Okay. Well, first and foremost, you need to stop calling other people bots because you're the biggest bot I've ever talked to. I feel like I'm
a bot.
I feel like I'm talking to an AI simulation right now. That's how much of a bot you are. Because you have no evidence to back up anything. You have no facts to support your claims. You literally just have a feeling that you want things to be this way because that's what you're familiar with and what makes you personally feel comfortable. And you just blindly listen to Andrew Tate. Like you are the most, you're the biggest bot I've talked to. So I think that we need to just stop with the bot accusations because you need to look in the mirror first and address that. Then you can call other people bots.
I'm just talking about my life and my personal experience, which
you're not.
I don't care about some stupid article.
You're not talking about if your personal experience was this is how I want my relationship to be because it worked well for my parents, then that would be fine. You're not making that claim. You're repeatedly saying, oh, but this is what's natural. This is how things are supposed to be. You're trying to force people into boxes that not everybody fits in. And in doing so, it increases the likelihood that men are going to commit suicide or abuse their wives or destroy their relationships. And I don't think that if you cared about men, you would actually be taking that approach. That's why you're a bot.
Well, I disagree on that. I've never ever seen anything that even would suggest that. So I don't know where you're coming from with all this.
Okay. That's because you're a bot, man. You just listen to what Tate wants to tell you. You're living in the Matrix. You got to step out, step into the truth, okay?
You're the one living in the Matrix.
Go and read some actual evidence. You can look at studies.
The evidence is by bots.
Okay, that's a very convenient approach to take when all of the available evidence contradicts what you think and what Andrew Tate says. When all the available evidence is proving him and you wrong, the biggest cope, the biggest beta move is to just say, well, it's all fake then. That's a bot mentality. You're denying reality. You're living in your own personal matrix safe space, and you're avoiding truth because it hurts your feelings.
That's because people like me and Andrew Tate were the simulation theory is that a lot of people aren't real and stuff. So a lot of the studies are fake and stuff just to prove all the bots right. It's so stupid that you guys are just out here.
You're just telling a story right now. You just wait. One, I don't believe everything I read or everything I say. Two, you believe everything you hear from Tate. So you're the one engaging in this behavior far more than I am. People in chat are asking how old you are. Is it okay if I ask how old you are?
Yeah, I'm 18, bro.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I just think that if you think through this a little bit more, you're going to see that there's really nothing that supports your claims here.
Well, what has Andrew Tate said that is completely wrong? That wasn't him trying to be an entertainer or joke around or something.
I mean, him talking about the women are property thing was one.
He didn't mean it like that, though.
He didn't mean it like that. Okay,
yeah.
How did he mean it then?
He meant that women are supposed to be subjected to their husband, but not like a slave or something like that. But they're just supposed to, because
I'm gonna play this clip here from Piers Morgan.
Do you think women are the property of men?
No.
Okay, so
why have you said they
the
are?
Bible
I made a
says
religious
wives
point.
submit unto your husbands as unto the Lord. So basically, Andrew Tate is just saying that, but in a different way.
Okay, hold on. Before we go into the Bible, which is the book for bots, I want to listen to this.
How is that
first.
the book for bots?
I want to listen to this first, though, because here's Andrew Tate denying this, even though he is.
Do you think women are the property of men?
No. The point I was making.
Why have you said they are?
Because I made a religious
point. He tries to clarify. Okay, so you're right. He says I made a religious point.
Exactly.
Made a religious point. I said that when a man marries a woman, the woman's father walks her down the aisle and hands her away to the man. Traditionally, that's what it says in the Bible. Okay, that's not what he said originally. He said that, well, I mean, technically they hand off the woman, and so she kind of is the property. And so, yeah, my sister is kind of her husband's property. So there's that. He did say that. Now he's walking it back saying he's made a religious claim. How does that make it any better? I don't care.
Because,
so you're because my book says that women are property? Who gives a shit?
Well, if you don't believe in the Bible, then what's your explanation for this word? The Bible has been proven to be accurate multiple times, and people like you just choose to ignore it and say, I'm gonna believe what I want because the Bible goes against my own personal beliefs.
Let's look at the actual clip here.
Watch the clip that you said about this so that we can get it in context.
To this.
So I think my sister is her husband's property, yes. When a bride is walking down the aisle to marry the groom, the father walks next to her and gives her away. True or false?
Absolutely. But I've been married twice, as it.
So, I mean, his direct quote was, so I think my sister is her husband's property. Yes. When a bride is walking down the aisle to marry the groom, the father walks next to her and gives her away. True or false? So this is what's called are you still hearing me here?
Yeah.
Okay, this is what's called a Mott and Bailey fallacy, which is where you have a more extreme position, but then you sort of mask it with a far more agreeable position. So the more agreeable position is that, yes, the father walks next to the woman and gives her away to the man. Yes, that is what happens traditionally in marriages or during weddings. Yes. However, that does not translate to women are property. You see, the problem there is that he's saying something that's true. It is true that traditionally that's what happens, but that does not translate or extend to, so therefore women are property.
But I don't think he meant it like that. Like, he didn't mean that women are like objects to be owned by men. He meant like wives are supposed to submit to their husbands, just like what the Bible says. So like, how is that wrong?
Because again, you're kind of doing the Mott and Bailey thing. First of all, wives submit to your husbands. No, that's fucked up. I don't think the wife needs to submit to her husband. I think if you are talking about having an actual successful marriage, then you're both going to need to equally respect the other and take into account what they're saying. So I don't think that it's like wives submit to your husbands. That alone is a backwards bullshit idea. So there's that, but that's also not what he said. That too would be a Mott and Bailey, because wives submit to your husband does not mean that the wife is the property. I would submit to my boss if I had a job, but I'm not the property of my boss.
Okay. But like, Andrew Tate like isn't saying that women are objects. He's saying that they're supposed to like the husband is like the leader of the house. So like, in that sense, they should obey. Like, if there's like a big decision to be made, that it's going to be ultimately the husband's decision. So
yeah, no, I disagree with this. But
why?
even if that, because not only is that just a dumb fuck way of going about things and makes the marriage more unstable and raises the likelihood of divorce, that's not what Tate said, and that doesn't translate still to women are property. It just doesn't. And I'm looking through the transcript here. He's doing the same thing. He's trying to make the same excuses you are. Like, well, it was from a biblical view, or I didn't really mean it quite like that. When you say that somebody is property, then you're saying that you own them. That's what it means that something is property. So if Tate had just said, I shouldn't have used the word property, what I meant is that the man in traditional gender roles would have a degree of authority over the woman. Okay, fine. Traditionally, that's probably true. Like, then I'd probably be like, okay, cool, that's fine. But no, he's making the property claim. And that's where you consistently are going to lose it.
Okay, so maybe he should have worded things a little bit differently. Like,
No, not worded things a little differently, made it so that he didn't say the word property. That's not wording things a little differently. This is like me saying, I want to go outside and kill a bunch of people. Oh, I should have worded that differently and said that I want to go outside and hug everybody, different. You know? That's what I should have said. I just worded it a little differently. No, saying a woman is property is a whole different statement from like the husband traditionally has authority.
Well, I don't know, bro. Like, what do you know about like a successful marriage or anything like that? I bet you've never been touched up by a woman in your life. Like, what are you even talking about? Where are you coming at this from? Like, you come at me with all these baseless claims, and it's just stupid.
You realize I'm married with 2 children, right?
Okay.
So I do know some things about a successful marriage.
But are you following the traditional gender roles?
No. Me and my partner are in an equal relationship. I work and make some money. She works and makes some money. Things would be incredibly tight financially if I stopped working. Things would be incredibly tight financially if she stopped working. We're not really able to rely fully on one or the other's income without it being incredibly tight. So we both work. We both have jobs. We both take care of the kids. And then there are some days where my kids are not at daycare and my wife has work because she has a 9-to-5 job and I do streaming, and I'm home primarily with the kids that day. So there's 2 days out of the week where I am like more or less a stay-at-home dad who, yes, wakes up, has breakfast with my kids, watch a movie with them on Disney Plus, hang out for the day, play with them. I clean up the house. No. I clean up the house. I fucking love vacuuming and tidying up. Okay. It makes me feel very happy. And I happen to be better at it than my wife, when it comes to cleaning. Obviously, taking care of the kids, we both bring our own benefits there. But the thing is that's what works for me and my wife. It would be different if I were getting up here saying, this works for me, everybody, so this is the way things should be. No, it's just works for me. This works for other people. So if this is something that you feel you'd be more comfortable doing, go for it. There's no one way that you need to be a man or need to be a woman.
You know what I keep hearing? I keep hearing bot, because that's literally what you are. This is so sad.
Well, do you have like headphones plugged into your own microphone so you're only hearing your voice and that's why you're hearing bot over and over again?
No, like everything you're saying, it's just completely stupid. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
You're coping really bad right now and it's okay.
I'm not coping.
You're still really young. You say you're only 18. I mean, I guess I'll believe you on that. But if I were you, I would just take a deep breath, take a step back, and think about what I'm saying, and think about what I have said, and think about what you're saying.
Because when was the last time you went to the gym?
Saying this is so stupid is not an argument. It doesn't make any sense. It's irrelevant.
Well, I guess then we're just going to disagree on that.
Okay.
But you're wrong about like depression and all of that because it isn't real.
Okay, well, no offense, but since you've been wrong about literally everything during this conversation, I don't think we want to get into another part of the conversation. So what, you could be wrong for like a fourth time?
I'm not wrong. We're just disagreeing.
Wait. Yes, we disagree. And only one position can be correct. And yours is the incorrect one.
How do you know?
Because there's evidence on my side and there's not evidence on your side.
Because that's just a bunch of bots. Right,
which is the cope. This is where you keep going back to the cope. No, you can't. Because I've already seen those articles. So, for example, there's a study done that showed women in relationships with men who were, for the sake of the study, labeled benevolent sexists, which means that they're sexist in the sense of they view women as being weaker and need to be protected. I'm not going to say that's sexist. Well, hold on, wait, hold on. I'm not going to say that is sexist. That's what it was called for the sake of the study, okay? They found that women in those relationships seemed to be happier. However, upon actually reading the study, it wasn't because women really were naturally the weaker ones and wanted protection, but because women actually perceived that type of treatment as being equal. So because they perceived it as being an equal relationship, that was enough for them to still be happier, ultimately meaning that it's actually the equality that was bringing the benefit. This is why all available evidence has shown that equal relationships, equal partnerships, meaning both partners weigh what the other partner says to an equal degree. They're both treated with the same degree of respect and importance. Those people have the most successful relationships, they have the most sex, and they have a way lower likelihood of divorcing. This is just the truth of the matter.
Well, I guess you can listen to random articles online while I'm going to be
out here.
It's
not a random article. It's like a study of thousands of couples.
Okay, so you can read stuff online, but I'm going to actually live my life and experience things. And you're just going to read these random stuff online that
it's not random studies. You're genuinely drowning in copium right now. These aren't random studies. This is data collection done over decades that finds that you're just wrong. Do you want me to read you a little bit of them?
No, because it's just a bunch of bots. You don't understand. It's just
the authors of this study believe people who invest in gender norms tend to base self-esteem on others' approval. So here's a survey of... Wait, hold on. Don't you, I would assume, care about listening to men and hearing what they have to say about some of their experiences as well. A survey of 309 sexually active college students examined whether placing importance on conforming to gender norms undermines sexual relationships because of its link to basing self-worth on others' approval. Using structural equation modeling, the authors found that valuing gender conformity negatively affects sexual pleasure for both men and women through increased contingency on others' approval and restricted sexual autonomy. So when you are basing yourself feeling like you need to fit into this norm, you're determining this based on other people's approval. Does the girl right now think that I am coming across manly enough? Does she think this? She's thinking, does the guy think that I'm being submissive enough? It shouldn't matter what other people think about you. That takes away from the sexual experience. So that worsens the relationship.
I mean, I feel like I just keep losing brain cells because this is just so stupid.
Okay, well, to be totally truthful, I'm actually surprised that you had brain cells to lose to begin with. But I think that this is probably the end of the conversation. Unfortunately, you're just too much of a bot stuck in the matrix. Hopefully, you'll wake up one day.
Everything you hear online.
Right. Hopefully, you'll wake up one day and take the actual red pill. And live happily ever after. Okay.
Okay, maybe fix your program.
Okay. Jeez, man.